Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Tim Meyer, here for the Romeo Sports Recap, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. And before we begin, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.
Well, the Romeo girls basketball team had a pretty successful season this year. They were 16-7 overall with the 8-2 record in the MAC White. And Coach Ron LeBlanc, congratulations on a nice season.
Thank you. It was a thrilling ride. It was fun.
As you reflect back into that season, there were some great victories and wins and stuff. Are there a couple of memories out of there that stick out in your mind that maybe glad we won that one? You know?
Yeah, if you're talking, well, overall, the biggest memory I'm taking is the girls themselves, what they did through the year, the camaraderie that they had, the character, really the positive vibe and culture that they had. But I'm sure we'll talk about that in the future. But yeah, if you're looking at games, we had a really successful season, real competitive season. We had 4 goals that we had coming into the season. That was to have, number one, the most fun in the MAC. And I'm absolutely positive that we accomplished that goal. There's no way to measure it, but there's no way that any team had more fun than we had this year. Number 2 is to be the best defensive team in the MAC. And throughout the red, the white, and the blue, we were the number 1 defensive team as far as points allowed at 38.1 points per game. So,
yeah, I remember watching you guys, and the girls were quite aggressive defensively, and they had a lot of steals that led to baskets.
Yeah, we talked preseason, talking about what the goals and the plans were for the team, and it was going to be an aggressive team, a defensive-oriented team. And the girls gravitate towards that. They pride themselves on, shutting people down, and we did a darn good job at it this year. So I was very pleased with that. Obviously, another goal was winning the MAC White, and we were essentially a point away from accomplishing that goal. Mm-hmm. We finished 8-2, like you said. Our 2 losses were to Ford, who won the White for the second consecutive year, and we lost to them, at home in overtime. We had the lead at the end, and essentially 1 point,
slipped right through your fingers.
Slipped from the championship, slipped from us. So,
well, let's kind of quickly go through the season. You guys start out really well with looks like 4 straight victories there.
Yep, non-conference, and then we came into the Christmas break. Well, Stony, who was...
You went to the Stony Creek tournament there. So.
No, actually, Stony came to our place.
Yeah, okay. That was
Stony came to our place, and, Stony's one of the top 10, perhaps, in the state. And it was, early in the season for us, a very competitive game. Really showed us where we had to work for the rest of the year. It was a, competitive game. I was very proud of the way the girls played, but, tough game.
And you rebounded, though, right, on the 28th of December to the Skipper's Holiday Showcase.
Yep.
Big win there.
And then, that's over Christmas is always tough. So we had a Christmas break. We had a nice win there, and then you're off for, 3, 4, 5 more days. And then we came back with an incredibly tough Armada team.
Yeah, that was, I was surprised about how tough they played you guys. They were very aggressive.
Oh, they won their division. They went through districts. They are an incredibly talented team. The coach is up for, I don't know the results yet, but he's up for the Coach of the Year in Michigan. They're
pretty tenacious.
They're a fantastically coached team, very tough team.
You guys got in foul trouble a little bit in that.
It came right down to the end. It was a Christmas break, so it was a rough start.
You did take the lead almost.
Oh, absolutely.
Towards the end,
we were down. We were up early, but it was very early, and we struggled. Getting our legs from this Christmas break. But then we really had a nice comeback. And I think we may have tied it. I think we were down 15 points, and we came back to within 2 or 1.
Yeah, I thought that maybe you're going to pull that one out.
Right at the end, it slipped away. So, but that was a fantastic. I will schedule them every year. I was talking to Joe just a couple weeks ago that we want this game in our Christmas schedule every year going into the conference.
Yeah, because
out of that
makes your players better.
Absolutely.
Makes your players better. Port Huron Northern, you won that one.
Yep.
You came back with that win, and then played Ford.
Our first Utica Ford game at Ford. So that's.
What did you think after that game?
Because
they're the best. They were the best in the league.
They were obviously our goal, or the number one team coming from last year, and they had good players coming back. They lost a number of seniors, which is going to impact their team because they had some really nice seniors that they lost, but they have wonderful players coming back, and they had a nice transfer coming in. So they were going to be a tough team again, and it was a tough team. And just being at Ford is always one of the most difficult places to play. So it was we were down a little bit. It was a rough game in the beginning. I do remember we just couldn't stay out of foul trouble, in that game. And we had some struggles. So it was, we played okay, but we definitely came out of that game saying, hey, we can compete with them. Yeah, we can compete there. Yeah. So we were excited for the rest of the year coming out of that game.
Well, you reeled off 3 straight wins.
Well, the next one, coming right out of that, you're playing Anchor Bay.
Yep.
And that's the other team that we talked about the preseason. That
was a close game.
Tough. Oh, no question. The Anchor Bay is really, us and Anchor Bay are 2 identical teams. They're identical as far as competitive. Last 3 years, we've just gone back and forth, and they've been 1-point games every game. Whether we win by a point or they win by a point or goes to overtime, every game is competitive. Every game is down to the wire. Every game is hard fought. And going into that one, that was an incredibly tough game coming out of that Ford game.
It was a close game. The next game was a close game, went to overtime against the St. Clair Shores Lakeview, and that kids pulled that one out. Yep. And then even the Utica game was a close game, a 5-point win over Utica.
And Utica beat Ford. So Utica is another new coach. We talked about them in the preseason, not really knowing where they were going to come. I knew they had nice players coming back. They had a couple seniors, Sarah Fromm and Vanessa Jr. that came back as really improved player. Utica was a really nice, very nice improved team during the year.
Well, they played a tough game with you guys.
They did.
Then you had to play Utica Ford again.
And Ford, that was the game at home.
Thought you were going to win it, right?
Thought
you were going to win it.
Essentially, as it turned out, that was for the championship, and we had it. And right at the end, we got in a little bit of foul trouble again. We had a couple players foul out, so
it went to overtime.
We had it and went to overtime, and we were there. We were right there.
2 points from that.
And then came back, and then again, you got to come back with Anchor Bay.
And you beat them. You beat them.
That was an exciting game. They're both exciting games. That one came down to we were down in that one. The first one we held on. The second one we had to come back in, and that was a big game. Emily, you're talking to her later, had a huge 3 when we were down by 3 points right at the end to tie it up. And then I remember Maya hitting 2 free throws right at the end to put us up. And then again, Jackie hit 2 free throws to seal the game, just almost identical to what we did the year prior in. Right at the end of the game against Anchor Bay. So that's a very exciting game. Those games against Anchor Bay, I tell you, they are my favorite. I love, I love playing against Jen. We're both highly competitive people, and the games always come down to 1 point. It's exciting. So those are 2, and playing them after Ford. Those 2 games back to back are just. I'm so proud of the girls because you come back from those 2 emotional losses against Ford to come back to play Anchor Bay and play them hard. It was very, very good for us.
You reeled off wins there, 4 in a row, and then to the MAC Red White tournament.
Yep. And then again, right there. So now we get into the MAC tournament. We just missed winning the MAC by, I keep saying a point. And then you got to go into the tournament, and who do we draw? Anchor Bay. So now you got to play Anchor Bay again for the 3rd time. You've beat them twice in a 1-point game. And it's so tough to beat a team 3 times. And in that game, we had them. We were up, and we have a turnover right at the end, and we lost at the buzzer. So that's, every game against Anchor Bay is coming right down 1-point game. And I love playing Anchor Bay. It's just so competitive.
And
then we won the next 2 coming out of that. We beat Eisenhower for the first time in 6-7 years, which was a nice win. And then we pulled Grosse Pointe South. Which is one of the highlights of the year, in my opinion. The first game against Grosse Pointe South and the second game against Grosse Pointe South, they're in the red, and they have one of the best players in the red. She was number 2 in MVP voting with Bernard. And we haven't beaten Grosse Pointe in a number of years. So that was a big measuring stick for us in the second game of the year to actually beat Grosse Pointe South.
Yeah, that was your 16th win of the year.
In the tournament, right? So we had them twice. We played the first game we had against them at home really set us on the path for the season because we knew that we were going to be a decent competitive team coming off that win. So.
And I don't know what happened at Cousino. That was kind of fluky.
Yep.
But in the tournament, you drew Rochester.
Yeah.
And 37-29. But what your thoughts about that game? Was that a game that you thought maybe?
Oh, we went into the districts saying, I can't wait. We want to get back at Stony. The districts, that was another goal of ours, was obviously to win districts. And we felt real comfortable against Rochester. We felt good against our game plan against Rochester. They have a couple of bigs. They have a very nice player in Mac. She's 6'2", 6'2" guard essentially, that really controls the field. And we came into that game and we had them. We did exactly what we wanted to do, and shots didn't fall. So we were up 11-3 or 11-5 in the first quarter.
Clangers.
We were. If you take the first and fourth quarter, we were up 28-13, and we got into a little bit of foul trouble right at the end of the first quarter, and we scored 0 points in the second, and we had 1 point in the third, and we still had good looks, but the ball would not fall in the bucket. So you take those 2 quarters, and we had a nice comeback in the fourth quarter again, but just at that point, it just fell short. It was. I loved how the girls played. We played what we wanted to do, essentially, but sometimes they don't fall.
Well, when they don't fall, they don't fall. Yeah. You can't. I mean, even the best teams all time, if it doesn't go in, it doesn't go in.
So ended 16-7. It's the best record that we've had in 10 years.
I was going to say,
coming off a 12-win season the season before, I think we had 6 before that, and the COVID year we had 2, and then the year before that was 4. So it's a progression. These last couple of years have been really nice growth, and girls are competitive.
As you let the season run in your mind, some things that maybe stood out that you saw that you didn't think you were going to see, some players that maybe got better.
Oh yeah,
maybe that some players that made some fantastic plays.
Yeah, a couple of there's some seniors that I didn't expect. Not that I didn't expect it, but it was the most improved player by far in my mind was Emily Reynolds. She just took a leap from her junior year to her senior year, and she was really one of the.
She had some big buckets for you.
Huge buckets, huge baskets. Like I said, the 3 against Anchor Bay. She was so consistent. Defensively, she was consistent. You could just see her. The confidence was just growing in her. Defensively, in the press, she was a bug. In the front of the press. We pressed a lot this year.
Yes,
and Emily was one of those triggers.
Do you like the pressing game when you have the athletes?
I like defense. I hate giving up buckets. Okay, so I don't normally like to press because a good teams can attack a press and get easy buckets. I don't want to give up easy buckets. However, with this group and the press that we installed, I was very confident with what we were doing with protecting the back end, but yet still coming up with some steals, coming up with some pressure. And the girls are athletes. We talked earlier that this group, you kind of coach to the girls you have. In this group of girls, we didn't have a lot of size, but we have athletes. So the press is where our bread was buttered. We're still a defensive team, man to man. But you pick your presses, and it was fun. So Emily was really was one of those surprise players from how well she played. I knew she was a good player, but really took a step up this year. Mm-hmm. Other surprises, I guess, if you want to call surprises, Sam Sackfield is going to be a wonderful player in the future. She was a sophomore that just stepped into varsity, and you talk about an athlete. You talk about a kid that can leap. I haven't seen a girl that can leap like Sam. She leaps like a guy.
Yeah.
And she's got speed, and so that was a surprise. She had some injuries during the year. She's out for missed 7 games, which hurt. But her improvement over the year of not being just an athlete and not just getting a steal and going crazy, but from her to learn the guard position a little bit and slow her game down, really started to mature during the year. And it was a shame that she got hurt near the end.
Yeah, we saw her play. She was she could be very powerful on the rebounding side, especially on the offensive side.
She can be. Sam's more of the guard, but she flies all over the court, and she can take steals and take it the other way. So yeah, she's an athlete that's quick.
And you said she was a sophomore this year.
So Yeah, so
She'll
she'll be a
back
junior next year.
So that's
Yep.
that's good news for you
Oh,
guys.
absolutely, absolutely. So those are my two, I
Yeah.
would say, the surprises. Although there's another girl that was, definitely was a stellar girl. Was Layla Babish, the freshman. You never know what you're going to get with a freshman, but she led her team in plus minus by a long shot, which is a good measuring
She
stick.
seems to have pretty good instincts for the game.
She's played a lot of ball. She is basketball through and through. So
Yeah.
a lot of AAU, a lot of training. She's in the gym. First, after we lost to Rochester in districts, the very next day she was training. With the trainer, she was out. She's getting ready for the next year. That's Layla. She'll come from her. We talked before. She comes from football practice, right to basketball rotations, and she'll just get shots in. And
She has amazing drive to the hoop.
Yep.
She has that sort of a stride or a skip step or whatever
she's got. She's got that football.
Yeah.
Put it in the breadbasket and attack the rim.
Take it up.
Her next step is when we get her taking those little pull-up jumpers or little floaters or the Paige Becker type 6 to 8 footers, as opposed to always attacking completely to the rim. Find that space in the sweet spot. She is going to be an incredible offensive threat.
Yeah,
so,
that's all. That'll be nice to look forward to.
So, yeah.
So
those are the surprises.
Yeah, a center that's coming back next year too, don't you?
Well, we don't have any
bigs
that you would say are the tall centers, but Aya Mosley was another one of our MVPs of the year. She's a junior, so she'll be a senior next year. She led the team in rebound, led the team in scoring, and she's a post player, but she's not a center type post player. She's long, length.
She could probably drive from the free throw line.
Yeah. Yep.
With a long stride that she has.
Yep. Yep. She has an incredible touch around the rim. She's long, so she can be on one side of the key, take one dribble, and have a right or a left-handed little touch shot. So she has beautiful touch around the rim. Offensively, as far as rebounding, she is a tenacious offensive rebounder, not powerful or strong, but she's one that the Dennis Rodman type. I think we talked about this before.
Able to go for the ball, keep it up. Oh yeah,
and it's hers.
Yeah, she keeps her eyes on the prize.
Yep.
Until she gets it.
And she led the team in blocks. Not that we have many players that are going to block shots, but I, is one of those players. And then we have, Maya came back again. This is her third year playing varsity. Second year full-time varsity. And she's just, consistent, sniper from the outside, good defensive player.
Yeah.
And then there's those girls that are just consistent, those stable players, Maya, Abby Ganfield, that you just know every day what you're going to get with them. There's girls that are going to go up and down. You're going to have this player here and this player here, but then you got the Abbies and, that are just, you can rely on those girls to do what they got to do.
That's what stunted my career. I was up and down. They didn't know what they were going to get.
Yeah.
So what they did is sit me.
So you got down while you're sitting.
Yeah. Yep. We don't know what we're going to get.
But one of the bonuses of our team, you talk about ups and downs, is you can't really scout us like we scout other teams because we have a different player that is stepping up each day. The different players are going to score. We only I led our team with only 7 points per game, whereas other teams that have one player, they're scoring 15, 16
So
points
I noticed
a game.
that on your team when I was watching them.
But yeah, you see, if you look at our stats, I think we had 8 players or 9 players that were all 5 points and above, which is all right there. So you don't know who's stepping up which game, but each different game was a different player based on, what was happening in the game. So
you guys spread it out pretty good and got to the hot hand.
Yep. We play.
I mean, Maya was hitting some bombs, and when she's hot, it's going down.
When Maya's one of those streaky players, right? When she's on, you just let her go.
Yeah, just let her shoot,
and she's going. And then we have others. Jackie was she led the MAC in 3-point field goals percentage wise. She was 40 some percent on the year from 3.
Which is put a hoop in your driveway.
Well, she's shot a few. So that's and then you got Emily, and you have Aya can shoot from the outside. You've got Abby can shoot from the outside. We had a ton of outside shooters. Anna Wesley shoots from the outside. Just the whole team can light it up from the outside. Claire Carmody has a beautiful shot.
Yeah, she does.
So there's everybody.
I enjoyed. I tell you, I went to a couple of your games. I enjoyed watching the girls play. It was a real. I think what I saw when I watched them play, they play for each other, and they play like a team, and then whatever little strategy you throw in there.
You hit the nail on the head. It's this team. I said the very first thing I said was that the highlight of the year was what they did with each other, how they played together, how they meshed. There was never There was never a struggle with an attitude or drama or anything on the team. They were always up. They're dancing before the game. We have special locker room, and they have a special dance party to get pumped up for the game. And the girls just had a blast, and it was
Well, that's always the best.
the senior leadership was incredible, and the rest of the girls they just mesh.
Well, hopefully that'll carry on. The girls that are coming back will carry that on. They've learned something, and you'll have another fantastic season next year.
You got a good squad coming back. I mean, you got the juniors all coming back. We haven't even had a chance to talk about Claire or Lydia or Anna. There's ball players that are coming back that, limited time we didn't get to talk about everybody necessarily, but Claire Carmody is, should be a leader on this team from the point. You got Sam coming back, who's going to be, another point leader. You got Lydia Hill on defensive end. You've got Anna Wesley is our other post player that's just continuing to improve, and she's a bulldog out there. We're going to be missing Emily with that bulldog attitude and Abby with that bulldog attitude, but Anna's going to bring it in. So it's going to be an exciting year coming in. And you got juniors coming in from next year, or sophomores coming in from next year, not knowing where we're going to be with who we're keeping. But
some of the players got some special recognition. Who were they, and what were they for?
Yeah, we had a number of girls that did very well in our league awards and county awards. We had 5 girls that actually won all MAC honors. Maya Mushong, Emily Reynolds, and Layla all had all MAC white honorable mention. Aya and Jackie were first team all MAC white, and Jackie finished third in MVP voting in the MAC white, which is fantastic. Macomb County, Jackie was first team all Macomb County. Aya fourth team all Macomb County, and Layla also won honorable mention and all defensive team Macomb County, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
So as far as awards, that was great. And just one more thing on, it's the seniors last year. Jackie had, just to close out Jackie's career, she made the record books in Romeo history, which is pretty cool. She had a fantastic season this season. She was second in scoring, third in rebounding as a guard, led the team in steals, led the team in assists, and is now in the Romeo record books she's top 25 scoring, top 25 in rebounds as a guard, which is fantastic over the last 40 years in Romeo. She's top 10 in assists and steals, so she's had a pretty nice
Well,
career.
I have to say, watching her play, she looked like she was enjoying herself and enjoying competing.
Yeah.
And that's the sign of somebody who gets those kind of things.
She loves to compete. The whole team loves to compete. Jackie loves playing with all those girls. The senior, just to close, another thing, the senior leadership on this team was just phenomenal. All 5 seniors, Jackie, Emily, and Abby that we talked about. But 2 of the unsung heroes are really Elise Covington-Craig and Allie Shaner. They're the ones that really stirred the drink of what our positive culture is going to be. ACC, this is her first year on varsity as a senior. She didn't play varsity last year. She was on JV as a junior. Yeah. Graciously took that junior JV position as a junior, and worked hard over the summer, made the varsity team, and I do not hesitate saying that ACC was my best move of the year of bringing her to varsity, because this culture was driven around Elise and Allison, and it was. I'm going to miss these seniors tremendously.
Well, we hope that some of that, the examples that they set and the tone that they set will permeate down to this next group coming up.
They had great role models, and I have no doubt the girls below them. You can't. It's not just seniors that can develop a culture. They can lead the culture, but the other ones all participate in the culture.
Well, they have to buy in.
And that culture's here, so they just continue to do what we've been doing.
Hopefully it'll grow in the petri dish,
right? Exactly, right. And they show the freshmen, and you see the 8th graders that are coming to camps. They see it, and hopefully the vibe just keeps going. So,
well, looking forward to it. Thank you for stopping by. We're gonna talk to a couple of those players and get some of their memories of the 2023-24 girls varsity basketball season.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay.
Before we continue, here on the Romeo Sports Recap Show, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.
We're back with some girls varsity basketball players from the 2023-24 season. I have Jackie LeBlanc, Abby Ganfield, and Emily Reynolds here. Girls, congratulations on a great season. It was really fun to watch, and you were, as some people would say, very successful. What do you attribute that to?
I would just say a lot of effort that we put into it. We didn't take things too seriously. We like to still have fun while still putting in the effort and working hard.
Yeah, I feel like our bench was really big this year, and we were really loud. And especially towards the end of the season, we try to make practices more like game situations. So I feel like that translated to the court throughout the season.
How about you, Emily?
I agree. Our work ethic, we had a very strong work ethic, and as a team, we all played together. We weren't very selfish.
And did the scrimmages in practice ever get heated?
One time,
One time
we were playing a game called Alabama with seniors versus juniors. All I'm gonna say is the seniors did win, and our underclassmen didn't like it that much. But
Some elbows were flying, maybe, or
Yeah.
some kicking and
Alabama
pushing.
really has no rules to it, I guess you
Yeah.
could say. So it gets aggressive, it gets scrappy at times.
yeah, I
and
agree.
Now, do you think that helped build your camaraderie even more? I mean, after it was over and everybody cooled down.
No.
Somewhat, but also not fully.
Yeah.
I don't think that determined our competitiveness, because prior to that, we've already been very competitive. So.
Which made Alabama a dangerous game.
Yes. Yes.
So you guys started out pretty good this year. I mean, you won some games at the beginning, and what kind of what did that do for you?
It definitely it gave us some confidence coming back from last year that we still had kind of our flow, I guess. We still had our competitiveness and our composure. And it kind of just showed who we are this year, kind of a kickstart of we can do this, we're Romeo.
Yeah, going off of what Jackie said, I would just want to add that we tried not to get ahead of ourselves with teams. We didn't want to be we're going to beat them. We can beat them. We try to focus on just us in the moment and not try and get ahead of ourselves. So I think that helped winning as well.
How about you, Emily?
Yeah, I agree with both things that they said. It was somewhat of a confidence booster, saying that we can compete with these teams and that we are good enough to win these games.
So when you're in these games, Emily, and each game's a different sort of story.
Yeah.
When do you know? I mean, how do you approach a game that's maybe you guys are down 6-0 and timeout, and you're gonna go? How do you make those adjustments? What adjustments and what goes through your mind like that? Do you ever panic or?
I wouldn't say panic. So I think there's an understanding that you had to be smarter in those situations, and that you had to listen to what coach was saying and what his mock-up is. Coach Blanc watches a lot of film, and he knows what he's talking about. So I think you just have to trust within each other.
And both of you are veterans of the Romeo girls basketball and other sports as well. And so when you're down 10-2 or something like that, and the team's making a run on you, I mean, what goes through your mind? You don't panic, but you're kind of hey, there's a sense of urgency here.
Right. The easiest thing to do is to get down on yourself and kind of get down on others at times. But our team this year, we tried not to get down. We would always stay positive and hey, it's still the beginning of the game. We still have 30 minutes left of the game. We still have a lot of time to play and come back.
Yeah, I think our team was very encouraging, and that kind of like pushed us to be like, okay, like we need to turn it on right now. So it wasn't really like scared or nervous. It was more of like, okay, like we need to get it going now. Like we're ready.
And that almost happened in the Armada game. I thought that it was going to be uh, a pull-out victory because they came at you like Armada Tigers, right? They did. They were very aggressive. There were probably a couple of calls that were not made on their aggressive defense. Did that frustrate you at all?
It does get frustrating, but you learn how to like snap out of it and keep playing the game and focus on something else.
And you guys didn't really shoot particularly well early in that game.
No, we did come out a little slow.
Was it their defense?
I mean, a little bit. We hadn't really faced like tough, scrappy defense like that in this season yet, so it was still like kind of getting used to that and working around it and passing the ball a lot more.
How would you compare Armada's defense with Henry Ford II's defense?
Honestly, I remember Armadas being much scrappier, probably one of the scrappiest teams we played, but it also made us better, so I'm glad we played them. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna come back for the Armada game next year just to watch and help the girls cheer them on to maybe a victory. I think you'll have them at your place next year.
Maybe.
yeah, I have no clue.
We'll leave that up to Cody, I guess. What players did you admire that for their ability this year that and their performance maybe surprised you that they performed well or were at the level that they were at?
I'm really proud of Layla Babbitt. She stepped up a lot, especially as a freshman. She had the confidence. She wasn't like a scared, quiet freshman.
Well, for gosh sake, she's getting beat up by guys
Right.
in the football field.
Yeah, she definitely brought that like intensity to basketball as well. And she was never scared to make mistakes. She never got in her head. She was one of our biggest supporters as well. Like she brought the team up. She never brought a negative attitude.
Yeah. How about you, Abby? Who do you?
I also had Layla in mind, but I'll go with Aya. She's a very strong player, and I know she cares a lot about the game. And it can beat her up mentally sometimes, but like she can snap out of it, and when she does, like she's ready to go, and she's fierce.
Yeah,
She's not afraid.
if you get her the ball, I think she could take over the game if she gets hot.
Yes.
How about you, Emily? Who?
I had both those people in mind, but I'm gonna go Maya Mushong. Maya had an up and down season, but when it came down to it, our last game of the year was against Rochester, and Maya shot was struggling, but in that last game she had 15 points, and most of those were threes, so I was really proud of her.
Yeah, she can bomb it from out there. I don't know how you. That's a tremendous. Well, she gets hot and it's going in. Did you guys? Do you think you relied on that a little bit this year too much, or you just, maybe we're hoping she would hit one? Or
We definitely like at certain times we had plays like set up for her, or we not expected her, but we really wanted her to make those threes. But we also had those plays that were designed to like drive to the basket or get other people open as well.
and how about you, Abby? Did you guys rely on Maya for that three? Do you think maybe too much, or?
I don't think we relied on her too much. I feel like in the beginning of the season, we were hoping she would like bring like everything out, and she did. And she did encounter like some lower points in the season, so I feel like we made that more team-based rather than focus on her. So I think we made some changes throughout the season depending on how she
Yeah.
was shooting.
And what do you think, Emily? Do you think?
I agree with what both of them said, but going back to like our offense, most people scored. It wasn't just directly one person. Like we all contributed, so I don't think there was a heavy reliance on it.
And if you could describe this season in a sentence, what would, or a couple of words, think about your feelings of this season and how would you put it into words?
I would probably say
I can say mine if you want.
yeah.
I'd probably say a great last season for me, being a senior. I know in the past, like our team hasn't had much success, so to end on that is pretty like great, and it leaves a lot of potential for the next years to come.
High note. And
I
Did you
would
think of it?
kind of. I would say like successfully competitive, I guess, because we had a lot of ups and downs, and those times that we did lose to tough teams and had tough games, we were still competitive and we still like played our best.
And Emily?
I'm gonna say it was a very competitive season while being fun. I'm a very competitive person and I hate losing, so being on a team where we were competing every game and winning was very enjoyable. So, and I like being with the girls every day. It was very fun and we enjoyed being with each other.
And that's a sign of a good team. You have to first like your teammates. So, any players in the league that you would probably not want to see again, or gave you a lot of trouble, competitive? Who stands out in your mind?
Anaya from Henry Ford, she's definitely one of our toughest competitors. She's can be a post, she can be a guard, she can drive, she has a good shot, and they set up a lot of stuff for her. So things are designed to get her open, and so
Coming back next year?
Yeah,
yes,
she'll be a
she'll be a
senior.
senior next
Be
year.
a challenge for your guys this year, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think, Abby?
I'd say Maddie Bernard. Personally, I think she carried their team throughout the season. She's a really good player. I will give her that.
From Ford.
No.
Grosse Pointe South.
Grosse Pointe South. Okay.
Yeah. But she's really good, so I'll give her that. But I definitely wouldn't want to face her again.
Okay.
I'm
Emily?
gonna agree with both of them. So yeah.
Those two players you wouldn't want to face again.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, Abby, what are you going to do after the senior year is over?
I'm gonna go to Western Michigan.
Oh, that's right.
University.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't have my Prevagen today. Okay. But you're going to miss it?
Yeah, I will miss it. I mean, right now it's kind of softball season. We rolled into it so quick.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really give me enough time to really think about like missing it much, but I know as soon as it's over, I'm definitely gonna miss the girls, especially.
And you're going to go to Larry Tech
Yeah, yeah.
and play and be somebody. Hopefully in the engineering world would be
Yes.
great. That would be fun. And Emily, you are going to
Michigan State.
Michigan State, and that's kind of a big place
Yeah.
for a small town country girl.
I'm no country girl.
What did you like about Michigan State when you went up there?
Honestly, I've grown up there. Both my parents are graduates of there.
Oh,
I
it's
just
home.
Yeah, I love
Coming
Big
home,
Ten
huh?
schools, Big Ten sports. So yeah.
They got a pretty good basketball team. I don't know about their football team this year,
New
but
coach, we'll see.
we'll see what happens. But thank you, girls, for a great season, and congratulations as well. And come back and see us.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this episode of the Romeo Sports Recap Show, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. You can subscribe to the Mitt TV YouTube page and click the notification bell to stay up to date on the latest episodes of the Romeo Sports Recap. Or you can find us on Spotify and follow our podcast, Romeo Sports Recap. From the Mitt TV, I'm Tim Meyer, signing off with a final word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.